Hello. Uh, for this case study, I'm doing mine on Doug McMillon, pretty much the CEO of Walmart. Uh, Walmart is one of the biggest companies, and I just got back from a trip to Mexico, and Walmart's pretty big over there. And it's interesting because uh, being an international company, the disconnect is huge, but you'd be surprised how standardized things are, right? The planning, Doug foresees everything for Walmart, and it shows just how intricate and how much thought goes into everything to have things that standardized. I've been to multiple Walmarts throughout this country, and now a few just south of the border, and I was really surprised how uniform everything was. The uniforms, uh, almost pretty much down to the aisle. The products, they're all different in a little bit. Uh, they're different, but not as much as you think, in terms of you know uh, where you can find their items, how everything is set. Uh, it's weird, but kind of cool that you can go to the Clovis Walmart, right, then go to the one in Portales, and you're more or less going to have the same experience. Uh, it's interesting, and I picked Doug McMillon because, again, Walmart's one of the biggest companies in the world, and it's kind of up to the people running it that make it that good. Doug McMillon's been an employee of Walmart for almost 2 decades now, and you can find article after article saying that he's the one that more or less reinvented Walmart, at least dating back to 2015, which is when you'll see the big change in stores and huge expansion. In El Paso alone, in the past few years, I've seen 5, 6 WalMarts start up, anywhere from the super centers to the green grocery ones. Uh, I'm pretty sure you can attribute all that to just him and his ideas, just the way that he plans all of this to coincide with with the growth of the company. I mean, El Paso's pretty big, but does it warrant? I don't. It's got at least over 10 WalMarts. It's crazy, and they're clearly making money, right? You have people that come across the border over here, and not even that. You have WalMarts just in Juarez, which is literally across the border. It's not that far, right? And you still have multiple WalMarts there, multiple WalMarts in El Paso. Dude's clearly doing right to have that many stores in 2 cities that close to each other, and still making a ton of money. After all, he's only one of 4 CEOs since um, Sam left the company. That's not a lot, and he has kind of a lot to live up to, and he sure has. I mean, the company's only grown. You see Walmart's everywhere. Um, Walmart for sure is an industry leader. Just in the 5 years, their stocks have risen 75%. That's that's a big, that's a big jump. That's out of every dollar 50 cents, roughly. That's kind of crazy. And again, you can more or less attribute it all to Doug. But being the industry leader, you're bound to get hit. And at least to the articles that I've seen, their biggest competitors right now are things like Amazon and, believe it or not, the dollar store, which is one of those companies that just seems to get more and more stores because they're making more and more money. Uh, People, especially like, I guess, people that can't afford certain things, they'd rather go to like the dollar store instead of driving all the way out to the super centers and stuff like that, which I totally get. But right, people just, they're strapped for cash. They don't want to spend a lot of money, rising gas prices, stuff like that. Uh, That's how the dollar stores are taking a big chunk of Walmart's potential market out, especially in the poorer communities. And then you have Amazon that undercuts the other half because of all the conveniences. I mean, some people get their groceries on Amazon, and while that may seem sketchy, I mean, it's a great alternative for somebody who just doesn't have that much time to do the extra stuff, right? So you have Amazon skimming the top, uh, either busy and or lazy people, and then the dollar store skimming towards the bottom with the people who are uh, more into like saving their money and stuff like that. I mean, Walmart still has a big chunk of the market, but both of those ends are gonna be pushing closer and closer together, and it's more or less up to Doug McMillon to actually come up with strategies and try and fix these problems. And he's been doing a pretty good job at it because I mean the stocks are up. I just explained that just El Paso and Juarez is a perfect example. You have two big cities with more than 2 dozen stores between them. That's just crazy to me. A few things that McMillan's done to thwart this is that he's actually put in people in key roles for the higher up positions to get things, going, new ideas out, streamlining the process. He also invested a ton of money on e-commerce, which would be like online. Walmart, the online store, wasn't that big of a thing, and now it is. I mean, look at the stuff that they're coming out with now, where you order your stuff online and then you can just pick it up in the parking lot. I mean, these are all his pretty much ideas, and they're more or less working. They're working. I mean, Super Bowl ad. We all saw the whole Walmart might start delivering, or they're delivering stuff to people's houses now. I mean, that's crazy, and it's honestly better than Amazon because you won't have to wait days. You call up your local Walmart right now and say, "Hey, I need some stuff." They're gonna get you that stuff as fast as possible. Maybe a day, right? At most the wait, but I completely doubt they're having people wait a day. McMillan is planning and executing really good moves for Walmart, and it's only getting bigger. Hopefully, it works out, and he'll go down in history as somebody who reinvented the Walmart brand and streamlined it into the future. In terms of organizing, like I said, he's putting key people in key positions, the higher ups, to get things, streamlined, get new ideas out there, uh, fix stores. He's investing in opportunities that might help Walmart in the long run. He's really taking a progressive approach to running the company, and it shows. Like I said, there's a lot of things that you couldn't do at Walmart, or Walmart wasn't simply doing a few years back, and now they have the online market. Now they have the delivery service. Now they have better looking stores in general. Uh, Service, all the self checkouts, right? I mean, you saving money by not hiring people, but everybody hates the kiosk, but they're a really good idea in the long run, right? Yeah, they're taking away jobs, but they're making the overall experience a lot better, right? Especially long lines. I mean, you go now to the local Walmart, you have what, like 4 open people cash registers and upwards of 20 uh, self checkouts. I mean, again, great ideas, streamlining the process, getting people in and out. He's organizing the stores real nicely. I mean, everything's more or less standardized across all the stores. You're gonna find almost every product exactly, or more or less in the same general area as you'd find everything. In the sporting section, you're gonna find things like ammo. You're gonna find bats. You're gonna find things for every sport. When you go to grocery stores or the grocery section, you're gonna find groceries. Everything's well organized. He's really keeping a real good watch over everything. Controlling again, all the stores are standardized. He's keeping up with everything, and you kind of got to give him credit for all that. It's really hard, uh, given like the language barrier. I mean, the guys here in the U.S. and Mexico's the easiest thing, right? You have to figure out the currencies. You have to figure out just how you would manage certain people. Everybody's got different managerial styles. Uh, Granted, uh, certain people are probably in control of the staffing, but McMillan oversees all that too, so he's kind of got a part to play in all that. Uh, what else? Again, everything's standardized. That's the epitome of control. I mean, if all your stores are more or less the same, that means you've got a tight leash, and that leash is working. I mean, considering all the growth your company's had, I mean, 47% is nothing to laugh about. It's a good number. Like I said, you have multiple stores in the same city, like multiple stores, and even if they're different, like the green ones and the blue ones and the superstores or the super centers, uh, it's just impressive to have them, right? I mean, go to El Paso, you can see a Walmart, and I'm not gonna say every corner, but every good sized chunk of set of blocks, you're gonna find one, especially if you're going down the loop. The point is, the dude has everything controlled. He's really good at his job, and it shows with the numbers. It shows with people with job security. Yeah, you have all those protesters or whatever, but I guarantee you more people like working for Walmart than the people that don't. In terms of how he motivates and leads his employees, the dude's a motivational speaker. I mean, you Google Doug McMillan motivation, you'll see a number of interviews and then speeches that he's done. I mean, he's good at talking. He gets the point across. He really knows how to work a room, and you can tell that he believes in what he's saying, which to me, in terms of communication, is probably one of the best things you could do. If you don't believe in what you're saying, you're gonna come off as, fake. But yeah, McMillan actually, you can get behind what he's saying. You can tell he has a drive to better himself and better the company. Being he ended up, or he has kind of had a high position in almost every segment of Walmart's, office jobs, stuff like that. So he really knows the company, and it shows. Like he he more or less is Walmart. Like 20 years in the business is no, again, laughing matter. I mean, dude's dedicated himself, and Walmart's taking care of him for it. Uh, Dude's the CEO now. I mean, you can't really get that much higher than that. But yeah, employees like working for him. He's doing everything to make things better for Walmart employees and its consumers. Um, we can go into staffing next, and a perfect example of this would be with the job growth that Walmart's had with all the stores opening up. The pickup facilities, like there are actual facilities that sole purpose is to have things ready to go for people just to drive up and pick them up. That's crazy to me. Like they just went away from stores and said, you know what, we're just doing drive-throughs now, and it's working. Uh, they had a facility that these 15,000 square foot facilities. There's one in particular where they thought they can put 23 associates and just have it staffed, and then have 10,000 items ready to go at any given time for people to order. Well, they couldn't do that. It turns out that the facility was so popular and people loved it that they had to bump up the number of associates on the grounds to a 54 employees at one given time. They had to drop the number of items uh, they had in stock just to be able to keep up with it better. Good call. To 8,000, which isn't much. I mean, they got all the essentials there, so their staffing is pretty great. I mean, again, they're opening a ton of stores. Yeah, they might be taking away jobs because of the whole self checkouts, but if you have more stores, you'd be able to hire just as many people as stock people, as associates. You know, things to just be there. And then if you're gonna have specialized facilities, i.e., the grocery ones, i.e., the normal product ones, because there are some Walmarts where they don't sell groceries. Uh, yeah, you'll have people specialize in certain things, and even in these pickup facilities, you're just creating jobs like crazy, and it's not that bad of an idea, especially when a lot of WalMarts are 24 hours a day open, more or less 7 days a week. In terms of communication, again, dude's a public speaker, he's a motivational speaker. He put in people in key positions to have a fresh outlook on how the company should be ran, and he more or less has a tiny leash on them, but at the same time he lets them throw out ideas. He listens to his employees. He's a really good boss, right? When it comes down to it, he's creating jobs like crazy. Uh, I mean, what what more could you ask from somebody who's been in the job for 20 plus years in any given position in that company? He's pretty much, I guarantee you, he's probably worked the ground floors stocking stuff, right? Moved his way up, more or less the American dream. If you work hard, you're going to play hard later. And it worked out for him. I mean, he's running the company now, right? McMillan was working, he was stocking warehouses at 650 an hour in Walmart. That's where he got his start, right? He's worked the bottom. He went to school, he did all that. So he went from stocking straight to assistant manager a few years later while he was in school and doing all that. That's impressive, but he knows the struggle. He knows what they're going for. He knows what his employees want, and he more or less knows what the consumers want. They want streamlined service, they want good service, and then they want an all-around good experience when they're going to the stores. You go to Walmart right now, it's pretty great. You don't have people haggling you. You don't have people harassing you. You don't have any of that. And then you go in, do what you got to do, and you get out. That's pretty much what everybody wants. Nobody wants to go to Walmart or a store and just, get hassled by the employees for, oh, you need some help, you need some help. It's like sometimes you just want to be left alone. And I've noticed that Walmart's like that. I mean, sometimes you'll catch these employees that aren't willing to help or they're not the best, at doing things. But I'm sure they get dealt with right away because the times that it's happened to me, I've never seen that employee there again. So I'm guessing either people complain and they either get fired or they get moved. You know, point is, uh, Doug, he's clearly communicating what he wants to do uh, very effectively. He has everything down pat. He knows what he's doing. He's been in the lower tier workers positions, so he has things set to where everything can run as smoothly as possible, and he can make the company as much money as possible, right? And he knew what he was doing so much that they made him CEO of Sam's Club, the Walmart, uh, you know, what is it called? Warehouse chain. They made him CEO of that first before taking on the main branch, Walmart. I mean, they saw potential in him, and he worked his tail off to get where he's at now, and it shows. He's doing a great job. Uh, one day, I'd hope to be just like him. Hopefully, I do end up like that. And yeah, Doug Nolan is doing a great job, and I can't think of somebody who's better at his game than he is currently.